SpaceX functions differently than the majority of aerospace corporations. After a significant rocket launch, some companies may take a break, but SpaceX is always getting ready for the next mission, and occasionally the next three. For instance, they had already finished crucial testing on the launcher for Flight 8 before they launched Starship's 7th flight. As Flight 8 draws closer to launch, we'll go over all the most recent information in today's video, including the anticipated launch date, the current state of preparations, and the implications of this next test flight for the Starship program. Make sure to subscribe to our channel before we begin so that you can keep up with all of SpaceX's news and their incredible accomplishments. Let's get started. SpaceX is getting ready for its 8th Starship test flight as of January 25th, 2025, which comes after the 7th test on January 16th, 2025. The next launch is anticipated to happen in February 2025, pending regulatory permissions and final preparations. Flight 8's flight route is probably going to take a similar course to earlier testing. The Starship is anticipated to splash down in the Indian Ocean after being launched from SpaceX's Starbase facility in Boca Chica, Texas. A high-altitude ascent, stage separation, and re-entry will all be part of the mission. Given that both flights are a part of SpaceX's continuous attempts to improve the Starship system, Flight 8 will resemble Flight 7 in many aspects. The purpose of both missions is to assess how well the vehicle performs at several phases, including liftoff, stage separation, and atmospheric re-entry. Additionally, they employ the same two-stage design, with the Starship upper stage performing the whole flight and the Super Heavy booster handling the initial ascent. Enhancing the Raptor engine's performance and the heat shield's dependability are the main goals of both tests. About 8 minutes into the flight, Flight 7 encountered problems. Initial investigations indicate that the incident was caused by an oxygen or fuel leak in the engine region that occurred after SpaceX lost communication with the rocket. The vehicle was destroyed over the Caribbean as a result of this fire, which caused a pressure buildup that was greater than the venting system's capability. Starship flights have been grounded until SpaceX resolves the problems and takes remedial action after the FAA demanded a probe into the event. For Flight 8, SpaceX has been developing a number of ways to avoid the same issues. In order to get rid of any possible oxygen or fuel leaks, engineers are examining and improving the systems. In order to put out flames as soon as they start, they are also installing fire suppression equipment in the engine area. To ensure that any leaks won't cause a catastrophic failure, the engine compartment venting system is also being rebuilt to withstand greater pressures. The Super Heavy booster and the Starship spaceship are the two main parts of the Starship system, as everyone is aware. Approximately 70 meters tall and propelled by 33 Raptor engines, the Super Heavy booster and the Starship spaceship are around 50 meters tall and have 6 Raptor engines each. To save launch expenses, both phases are made to be completely reusable. Every component is put through a thorough testing process before integration. To confirm the tank's structural soundness in the face of high cold and pressure, cryogenic proof tests are carried out. For example, in October 2024, Ship 33 and Booster 14, which were utilized in the 7th test flight, finished cryogenic testing. Static fire tests, in which engines are started while the vehicle is still firmly attached to the ground, are conducted after these tests. Early in December 2024, Booster 14 passed a static fire test. The Super Heavy launcher and Starship spaceship undergo separate testing before being combined into a fully stacked configuration. After that, the integrated vehicle goes through a thorough test called a wet dress rehearsal, which includes filling the rocket with propellants and recreating a full launch countdown without starting the engine. On January 10, 2025, the Flight 7 vehicle successfully completed a wet dress rehearsal. SpaceX is probably using a similar procedure in advance of the 8th test flight, putting the new prototypes through wet dress rehearsals, static fire tests, and cryogenic proof tests to make sure all systems are operating as planned. 7 Starship test flights have been completed by SpaceX as of January 2025, and each one has yielded useful information for next designs. Flight 7, the most recent, happened on January 16, 2025. The vehicle, which included Ship 33 and Booster 14, successfully departed SpaceX's Starbase facility in Texas. The vehicle encountered an anomaly that resulted in its destruction around 8 minutes into the flight, at a height of 143 kilometers. Several nearby commercial planes were diverted as a result of debris from the car falling over the Caribbean. Although the precise source of the anomaly is being investigated, initial indications point to a potential fuel or oxygen leak that may have resulted in a fire. In order to achieve a completely successful orbital flight and recovery, the business intends to carry out a minimum of 25 test flights in 2025. Every test is intended to expand on the knowledge gained from earlier flights. For the next trip, the Raptor engines have been modified to increase their dependability and efficiency. The Raptor engines are more efficient than conventional rocket engines because they employ a complete flow-staged combustion cycle. About 2 meganewtons of thrust may be produced by each Raptor engine, adding to the Super Heavy booster's overall thrust of roughly 66 meganewtons during liftoff. Strength, durability, and cost are all balanced in the vehicle's construction thanks to the use of stainless steel. Extensive thermal protection devices are not necessary since stainless steel can tolerate the high temperatures experienced during re-entry. Complete reusability is one of the Starship program's main goals. The Super Heavy booster is intended to return to the launch location and be captured by Mechazilla, a mechanism SpaceX calls the mechanical arms on the launch tower. During the 5th test flight in October 2024, this technique was successfully proven when the rocket was captured by the arms of the launch tower upon its return. Close cooperation with regulatory agencies, especially the Federal Aviation Administration, is required due to SpaceX's aggressive testing schedule. A launch license is needed for every test flight, and it is subject to certain environmental and safety requirements. The FAA will carry out a comprehensive investigation to identify the cause and evaluate any possible safety or environmental effects in the wake of the anomaly on Flight 7. This might affect the schedule for further test flights, depending on the results. Although regulatory evaluations have caused delays for SpaceX in the past, the business is still in regular contact with the FAA to resolve any issues and guarantee adherence to all relevant rules. Blue Origin, however, is generating news by shedding its image of tardiness and poor growth. The corporation shocked the space industry on January 16, 2025, when it successfully launched its New Glenn rocket into orbit from Cape Canaveral, Florida. Just 13 minutes after taking off, the enormous 320-foot rocket, named for astronaut John Glenn, launched the Blue Ring Pathfinder prototype satellite into medium Earth orbit. As Blue Origin joins the cutthroat orbital launch industry, this is a major turning point for the company. There were difficulties with the mission. The reusable first-stage booster, which was powered by 7 BE-4 engines, was lost during its descent after failing to land successfully on the drone ship, even though the main objective of reaching orbit was accomplished. In order for the vehicle to be reusable up to 25 times, future launches will concentrate on refining booster recovery. 6 to 8 more. Glenn missions are already scheduled for flight in 2025 as part of Blue Origin's ambitious launch timetable. That concludes the video for today. I appreciate you watching.